Hi, good morning guys, thanks for joining me. I hope everyone's well, hope everyone's enjoying this glorious weather. It's got to be said, springtime is one of my favourite times of the year. Just seeing all them bluebells growing, all them ramsons, it's got to be said that it's good for the soul. So what I thought we'd do in today's video is talk a bit about natural cordage. What I'm doing at the moment is just having a quick practice just on a little bit of jute. What I'm doing here is just reverse twisting or two-plying just this length of jute. And what's that going to do for me is just make just the cordage a little bit stronger. It's also just a little bit more durable and easier to work with. So before you start making any kind of natural cordages, it's probably better just practicing this method out first on something like jute. It's a nice strong cordage to practice with. You can get the lengths, what it is that you want to work with, and it's also nice and uniform in diameter. So we're just going to run through the reverse twist or the two-ply, whatever it is that you want to call it. Then after that we'll start looking for some brambles, just getting the fibres out of them and start making a little bit of cordage. So when it comes to cordage, there's various different things that you can use. Like I said, we're going to use brambles today. You could use nettles, you could use bark, various different kind of natural plants out there. But the beauty about brambles is it's going to help me clear them just away from the camp. There's nothing worse than brambles in my opinion for tripping over, tearing your trousers, ripping your boots up and that kind of thing. So I thought we'd just put them to some kind of use. Like I say, to make a little bit of cordage. And that's the process finished off there with the jute. I've just tied a knot in it just to stop it from unwinding. And if you notice there, it's now twice the thickness, twice the strength. But these kind of things, apart from being good for practicing when it comes to making natural cordages, you could also use them for things like lanyards. Just got a mould there which I've made, and then just on the back of it I reverse twisted just a small length of jute there, and it makes just a nice rustic finish. So like I say, when it comes to making any kind of cordage, this is the process which we're going to use. So when it comes to practicing it, jute is a good material. So here we've just got a spool of jute, so we're just going to cut just a length off. And what we've got to remember is, because we're doubling it over, the length that you cut off is going to finish off half of that length. So if you're looking for something around about 5 foot, you're going to have to use around about 10 foot worth of cordage. Then the next process, once you've got your cordage, is to find the centre. But if it is that you're going to be making natural cordages, you want to offset the centre just so that you've got a tag end running down, just in case that you need to add any more fibres to it, just so you can carry on with the process. But if it is that you're just using a little bit of jute just to practice, just a case of just finding the centre point, then we're just going to twist and make this fibre nice and tight. So we're just going to twist in one direction with one thumb, and then with the other thumb we're just going to twist that just in the opposite direction. And once that's nice and tight, the cordage itself will want to start to kink and twist and find the way which it wants to go. So as you can see there now, that's just started to twist over just at the top. And it's just a case of gripping onto that, and then we're going to twist towards the camera and then roll it back over the top. And then with the other section again, we're going to twist towards the camera, then we're going to roll it back over the top. It's just a case of just doing this process all the way down, keeping this nice and tight. So twisting away from me towards the camera and then rolling it back towards myself. And once you get into a little bit of a rhythm, you can soon whip through this cordage. So twisting away from yourself, winding over the top, twist away from yourself and wind back over the top. As you can see there, we're now starting to just get a nice little twist going. It doesn't take too long to get the knack of it. It's just a little bit more tougher on the fingers than it is complicated to do. So like I was saying, just spin it just away from yourself, then wrap it over the top, and then grab the other length, twist it away from yourself, and then wrap it back over the top. And that then is giving you a double thickness of cordage. Like I was saying, this is good for practicing with, using it for lanyards, and if you wanted to, you could even double that up further and make that twice as thick. Just like I've done with that piece there. And if you wanted to again, you could do exactly the same kind of thing and make this as thick and as tough as it is that you want. So once you've got this down and you're quite happy you can do the process. And now it's just a case of just finding some natural materials to practice with and make some natural cordage. So as you can see, if you kind of just let that go, it doesn't untwist because you've been twisting it in the direction that the cord wants to go. So it just means then it's not going to start unravelling if any of the fibres are going to break. It's also just a nice, tough, strong cordage to use. Just give you a close up there of the two different sorts. So that's your single thickness, that's your double thickness, and then that's been doubled over again. So when it comes to processing and harvesting the materials to make the cordage, very few tools are required. Just a pair of leather gloves just to stop the thorns from going in your hands, perhaps a pair of secateurs or your belt knife, and just a light stick so that we can break away the fibres from the main part of the plant itself. It's very similar to using nettles for cordage, very similar kind of process. Unlike using things like willow barks where we're going to have to start boiling it down, with these kind of cordages, very simple. Once them fibres are taken away from the main part of the plant, you can either let them dry or you can just use them straight away and make your cordage that way. So just taking a look around, plenty of brambles about. We might just be just a little bit too early for the longer fibres. People do say that June time is a very good time of the year because if you can get long single fibres, they're going to be a lot stronger than perhaps adding just shorter lengths. We're just going to have a look around, do the best we can. Like we say, we might just be a little bit too early. That's the beauty about coming out, having a practice and have a play about. Okay, so we've got a nice bed here, and there's quite a mixture. There's some new growth, there's some which don't look too bad, which are around about 4 foot long, and then mixed in between all this is the old dead stuff that we want to keep away from. So this stuff here, this old dry stuff, which basically just snaps like twigs, it's just too woody and just too far gone. Probably a little bit of this further down just might be just a little bit too tough, but we're just going to take just a few of these nice longer lengths and then we're going to see what we can produce out of these. Okay, so once you're happy with the brambles that you've selected, like I say, we may just be just a little bit too early, but the next process is to remove just the outer layer, also get rid of any leaves and spines and that kind of thing. So to do this, there's a couple of ways which you can do it. I've actually seen people just nick the skin and peel it all the way off, but what we're going to do is remove all the thorns, like I say, get rid of the leaves, and then we're just going to beat it just a little bit just to start removing just the inner part just away from the centre pith. So to do that, I've got just a dead cheap pair of gardening gloves. Don't wear your best leather gloves for this because these thorns do soon rag through them, and it's just a case of picking the best one which we're going to use, and then just rub down and just remove the leaves and the thorns. And then once you've removed the majority of the thorns and all them leaves, it's just a case now of just using just the back of the knife. And I'm just going to gently just remove this outer layer of skin and also the remainder of these little thorns. And the shape of these is pretty much like a 50p piece, so you just go down each facet nice and gently, just removing, like I say, just this outer layer, and try not to damage the layer underneath, which is the layer which we're going to use. This is a laborious process, and this is why I think a lot of people were happy when there was machinery developed for making cordage, because making cordage is a long, laborious process. But doing it out in the weather like it is today, it's a nice, pleasurable little task. So once we scraped the outer skin off, making sure that we didn't damage just the underneath, the next job is just to gently just to break the fibres just away from the inner pith. And for that I've just got just a little piece of pine here, so it's not too heavy. I'm just going to gently just tap all the way down, making sure that we don't miss anything. And then when you get to where the nodes were, where the leaves were, just work around them, make sure that you get them good and proper, because you do get quite a bit of fibres that are nice and tight just packed around there. So once you finish tapping, as you can see there, that the fibres themselves now are starting to separate from the centre core. But if it was a little bit too woody, you sometimes find that the pith itself would actually stick to that inner bark, and you'd have a job to actually get it off and to get it twisted. But this isn't too bad, so we're just going to take a seat and we're going to gently remove these strands here. Try to get them as even in width as possible and as long as possible, and these are the fibres which we're going to use to make the cordage. Okay, so after around about 10 or 15 minutes worth of work, we've now got ourselves a nice little bundle of fibres there. The longest one, I'd probably say around about 3 foot, the others around about 18 inches, something like that. There's a couple of different things what we could do. We could either just bundle them up, take them home and just let them dry out and use them at a later date, or like we're going to do today, we're just going to twist them now and make them into a bit of cordage. But because the temperature has been so warm, these are now gone really dry. I've just got a little dish down there. We're just going to pop them just in a little bit of water and just rehydrate them, and then we can just take them from there, twist them and start making the cordage. So the first thing what we need to do is to double the fibres over. And what we're going to make sure we do is have a trailing end, so one end is going to be longer than the other, just like I mentioned first thing this morning, just so we can attach another section to it. And I'm just going to twist the two just in opposite directions. And once it's got enough twist, it'll want to form itself into a little twist like so. And then once you've got that initial twist, like we said first thing, just a case of twisting away, pulling over the top, twisting away, pulling over the top, and twisting away and pulling over the top. And if you can keep these as nice and as tight as possible, it's going to give you a nice uniform cordage. The idea, you want this to be a similar diameter running all the way down. So we're just going to take our time, enjoy the sun and produce a little bit of cordage. And if it is that the fibres start to go a little bit too dry again, there's nothing stopping you either just wetting them just with a little bit of spit, or I've got just that little tray of water down here. And as you can see there now, we're starting to form a little bit of nice thin cordage. And then we can continue doing this until we need to add just another length of bramble. I've just got one just sitting there waiting to be added, and the way that we do that, it's very simple. It's just a case of just putting the two together, just twist them around, locking them in place, and then we just continue like we did before. And you just continue until you've either got enough cordage or you need to process some more bramble to make more cordage. So as you can see, it's a time-consuming process. There's quite a bit of work involved. You know, so far we've made a piece, I don't know, around about just over a foot long, something like that. That's taken me around about an hour. That's for harvesting, processing it down, and now just twisting it like this. So we'll just finish off just by using what we've got left here. And then I'll just finish that off just with a little overhand knot, just to secure the loose ends. And there's a nice little length of cordage. And if I can get the camera just to pick up a little bit of a close-up there, it's not perfect, but what we're looking for is some kind of uniform thickness and also a nice tight twist. And it's got quite substantial breaking strain if it is that you wanted to go a little bit thicker. And I'll just show you just a real quick way of doing it. But these kind of things would be perfect for fishing lines, primitive snares, that kind of thing, or if it is any kind of rustic projects that you want to make and you want to make a lanyard out of natural cordage, again, another nice little project. So just before we finish off, I'll just show you just a quick way if you want to make any kind of thicker cordage. You can make it really as thick as a rope if you want to. And all I've done, very similar kind of process. We just harvested one of the brambles. I've just got the thorns off it just with the glove, and then we just hit it just to break it down a little bit, just from that centre pith. And that's pretty much all you've got to do. You don't have to worry about scraping the outer bark off. And now it's just a case of doing just what we've just done, just twisting just in opposite directions to start off with, and then once it's found its own natural twist, we can just take advantage of that then, just by twisting away and pulling back over the top towards us. And by doing this, we're just making a thick, coarse piece of cordage that can be used for lashing shelters, anything where you need perhaps a stronger bit of cordage than the first one which we've just made. And again, very, very simple. A little bit time consuming, but what you tend to find with all these kind of things that they are anyway, so it's a case of just getting comfortable, sitting down and getting into it. And then once you finish twisting everything together, you'll end up with a nice, thick, strong cordage there, perfect for lashing shelters and that kind of thing. Like I say, if you wanted to, you could go even thicker again. That one there is probably around about 3 times the thickness, all the way down to the one which we spent the time and effort on first thing this morning, which is the longer, thinner strand. Again, this is going to be perfect for any kind of smaller job which you may have, or any kind of rustic projects. Well guys, that's it for this one. Just a quickie, just about natural cordages. So if you've got any kind of projects that you may be making, it's always a nice thing to do. But 9 times out of 10 obviously, you'll be dipping in your rucksack to get your cordage. Like I was saying, it's a laborious job and a time consuming job to make the cordage. So like always guys, you just leave me say thanks a lot for stopping by and watching the video. Like always, until next time, you take care and I'll see you again.